on Zoos, Brekkie.
Suhini, the head of people2people recruitment, joins us this morning. Cheers for coming on.
Thanks so much for having me.
Something that's crossed my desk from your organisation, and it absolutely fascinates me, is this study into the use of emojis in the workplace. Are they as prevalent in the workplace these days? I honestly never considered it.
It is very prevalent these days. We've got over 70% of our respondents from the people-to-people recruitment survey saying that they do use emojis in some capacity, whether it's to, relay a simple message or highlight a particular piece of information, and across varying roles too.
I mean, personally, I can imagine sending my boss like a thumbs up, but that's about it. That's where it finishes. And there's obviously a worry of miscommunication, sort of misunderstanding the meaning of an emoji. That has to have crossed some people's minds.
Absolutely. You've hit the nail on the head there. All two smileys are not created the same is what we've found. So, as you said, a lot of the baby boomer generation do tend to take things quite literally in terms of their use of emojis. So the thumbs up or the smiley face, they keep it simple. Whereas you've got Gen Z who can sometimes find that simple smiley face to be passive-aggressive or a little bit... or have a very different meaning to what you'd expect. So you do need to be careful with it, and I would say less is more. Have fun with it, but keep it simple.
Well, not to bash my own generation, but I think one of the figures I read about that was it's with Gen Z, 50% thinks this smiling face emoji is supposedly passive-aggressive. What in the world is actually behind that perspective?
Look, I think it all comes down to the fact that Gen Z were born in the era where emojis were already there and they were already established. Even Gen X and millennials, we were raised in a time when emojis were still evolving. They were just coming out. And so, for us, and we have millennials and Gen X have a large crossover with baby boomers in how they use emojis. And we tend to take it a little bit more literally because we were having fun with it. We were starting out all together originally, whereas Gen Z, they were born with it. They just, it's second nature to them, and the nuances that they have in their communication are very different to ours.
So when it comes to, say, the emojis used for congratulating someone, surely an emoji when it comes to congratulating someone on their work in a workplace, it's surely seen as like a cheap cop-out for actually putting effort into writing words.
You've raised a really good point, and this is something that I always maintain, that the use of emojis is really great for, highlighting pieces of information and creating a little bit of camaraderie, absolutely, and having some fun, but it should never replace the art of having a conversation. And any formal piece of communication or important and serious pieces of communication, it should be an emoji-free zone. And particularly when there are significant achievements or important pieces of feedback that you need to relay, that's not the time to use an emoji. That's the time to, have a conversation with somebody, pick up the phone, have that proper relationship with your fellow worker.
100%. Well, there's something else that I'm hoping this isn't actually true, but the question's crossed my brain. Please don't tell me that people are actually considering using emojis on their resume.
Look, we have not come across that yet, which I'm pleased to say.
Thankfully.
And look, as I said, when it comes to formal communication, whether it's verbal or written, it's no emojis. You really should be presenting yourself in a professional manner and ensuring that you're displaying your ability to communicate effectively. So as fun as emojis are, anything professional, anything serious and formal, keep it out.
Now, just before I let you go, in this study, was there any data available on how people perceive the poop emoji in the workplace?
So that's a really good question. Now, we didn't have that specifically, but I'll give you a fun fact about the poop emoji. It actually started out as an ice cream.
What?
So, and then...
Oh, God.
Yep, that's right. So human minds, as they do, they have decided that it's much better and more appropriately seen as the poop emoji. I haven't seen it used in any prevalent sense in the workforce yet.
Thank God.
Gen Z are a creative bunch, you never know.
Oh, cheers for your time this morning, Suhini. It's the whole thing, in seriousness, it's a great reflection of how technology is actually changing the world.
That's true. It is really an evolution of communication, and for better for worse, we need to keep on top of it.
100%. Much appreciated for your time.
Thank you.
You're on Zoo's Breakfast.